If you're a first-time homebuyer, this video is for you. In this video, we're going beyond the basics. You're going to learn how to beat the highest offer by making the smartest offer. You'll learn when an FHA loan is the wrong choice and when it's the right choice. You'll learn how to decide whether you should buy now or if you should wait. And much, much more. I'm Justin Braithwaite, a real estate broker with over 10 years of experience, and these are the 7 most important tips and strategies that will make all the difference in buying your first home. Let's get right into it. Number 1, you don't need 20% down. You don't have to wait until you have a 20% down payment to buy your first home. In fact, 20% down hasn't been the standard for first-time homebuyers since the 1930s. The reality is the actual down payment for first-time homebuyers is currently around 6 to 7% in recent years. And second, don't wait years just to avoid private mortgage insurance. I'll tell you why in a minute. Here's why waiting can work against you. First, let's imagine a $400,000 home that appreciates by the historical average of 4% annually. If you wait and try to buy this house next year, you'll pay $416,000. Unless your savings and income are increasing faster, home ownership is slipping away. And second is the power of financial leverage. If you put 10% down on that house and it goes up 4%, you didn't just make a 4% return. You actually made a 40% return on your cash invested. And a 40% return is definitely much better than 3% sitting in a high-yield savings account. And third, rent is a pure expense. You're paying for shelter, yes, but you leave with $0 in equity. While a mortgage payment functions as a forced savings account where part of each payment is yours as paid down equity. So here's what to do. Take advantage of government-backed programs like the conventional 97 with 3% down or the FHA loan at 3.5% down. These programs exist specifically for first-time homebuyers, and later we'll cover how to choose the right one based on your credit. And furthermore, think of PMI as the cost of leverage. You're paying a monthly fee for controlling a large asset that appreciates over time. The goal is to lock in the price now. You can always pay down the principal later to remove the PMI, but you can never ever buy this house at today's prices again. And if you're betting that prices will fall, you may be right, but you also may be wrong. Number 2, your real monthly cost. Don't go by the monthly payment on listing sites because they may be incomplete. They often show only the principal and interest and may not include taxes, insurance, and they definitely don't include budgeting for maintenance or repairs. Also, don't max out your pre-approval amount. Just because a lender says you can borrow $500,000 doesn't mean you can comfortably afford the payment. The bank doesn't know about your child care expenses, travel goals, or your lifestyle. Here's why. So as we covered, your payment isn't just principal and interest. It's principal, interest, taxes, and insurance. And depending on the area, taxes and insurance can add up to 30 to 40% on top of the loan payment, like Florida where insurance costs are high, or many areas of New Jersey where property taxes are high. And furthermore, a new roof or HVAC system isn't an if, it's a when. You have to budget for these big expenses monthly. So here's what to do. Calculate your PITI plus M by adding maintenance to your calculation. A safe rule of thumb is to budget 1% of the home's value per year for repairs. Next, be sure to look up the property taxes of the home you want to buy and ask an insurance agent for a real cost estimate before deciding. And finally, ask yourself whether the full PITI plus M payment is affordable for you. If this number forces you to stop saving for retirement or cancel your annual vacation, the house might be too expensive for you unless you're willing to make those sacrifices. Number 3, debt to income ratio. You're not necessarily disqualified from buying a home if you have a large amount of debt. Lenders don't care about how much you owe, they care about your monthly cash flow. Here are the most common DTI mistakes. First, don't calculate DTI using your take-home pay. Lenders look at your gross pay, which is what you earn before taxes, insurance, and 401k deductions. Second, don't worry about your total debt balance. Lenders focus entirely on your monthly payment obligations. Here's why this matters for your purchasing power. If you take home $4,000 a month, your gross income might be $5,500. Using the gross number lowers your DTI percentage and increases your purchasing power. And a $10,000 credit card balance might only count as a $250 monthly obligation in the lender's formula. So how do you calculate your DTI? First, add your future expected mortgage payment plus your monthly debt minimum payments and divide that total by your gross income. Ideally, you want this number to be below 43%, though FHA loans can sometimes stretch to 50% or higher. And next, If you want to lower your DTI, look to pay off the loans with the highest monthly payments. Eliminating a $400 car payment, for example, frees up roughly $80,000 in borrowing power. And finally, if you have student loans that are on an income-based repayment plan, provide documentation of this and ask the lender to use your actual low payment instead of their typical default 1% calculation. Number 4, which loan do you choose? When it comes to financing, don't default to an FHA loan just because you're a first-time home buyer. It may not be the best option for you. Also, don't ignore the USDA map thinking that rural only means farmland. Some outer suburban areas might qualify. Here's what you need to understand. First, with an FHA loan, when you put down less than 10%, the mortgage insurance premium stays on for the entire life of the loan. While on a conventional loan, you can request for the premium to be removed once your equity reaches 20%. Second, the mortgage insurance premium on an FHA loan is the same regardless of your credit score. So if you have a high credit score and choose FHA, you're paying for a premium designed for a riskier borrower. While on conventional loans, the mortgage insurance gets cheaper as your credit score improves. Third, USDA loans allow for a 0% down payment and often come with lower interest rates than conventional loans. If the location of the home qualifies, you definitely want to take advantage of that. So how do you choose? Generally speaking, if your score is above 720, prioritize a conventional 97 loan and be sure to request that the PMI be removed once you reach 20% equity. If your score is below 660, the FHA loan is usually better despite the permanent fees. Next, before you start house hunting, check the USDA eligibility map on their website to see if the homes in the areas you're interested in qualify. You may be able to save your entire down payment. If your score is between 660 and 720, ask your lender for a total cost analysis over 5 years. This will show you the monthly cost difference of the mortgage insurance. A lower interest rate on an FHA loan might still cost you more monthly once you add the mortgage insurance. Look at the total cost, not just the rate. And remember that only the conventional loan gives you the option to remove that fee later. Number 5, choosing the best real estate professionals. First, don't click Contact Agent on sites like Zillow. When you click that button, you're being sold as a lead to an agent who paid for your click. Second, don't blindly use your realtor's preferred lender. While it can be a good referral, accepting the first recommendation without rate shopping means you'll often pay more. So why does this matter? First, choosing the right lender can be the difference between a successful closing and a failed closing, and tens of thousands of dollars in interest expense throughout the life of the loan. Second, your real estate agent is critical for helping you find the right house and negotiating the best possible price and terms for you. So how do you hire the right team? Interview 3 agents and include this specific question. Tell me about a time when you advised a client not to buy a house. If they can't answer that instantly, they're probably more of a salesperson instead of an advisor. You want someone who's acting in your best interest, not someone who just wants a commission. Next, see if those agents hold the ABR, which is the Accredited Buyer Representative designation. This is a huge plus. And finally, when vetting lenders, aside from comparing rates and fees, be sure to ask for the total cost analysis that we went over in number 4. You want to choose a lender that has modern advisory tools that helps you understand the long-term impact of your debt. Number 6, making winning offers. First, don't base your opinion of the market value of the home on the list price. And don't assume that the price is the only thing that matters to the seller. And don't waive the inspection to make your offer more competitive. It's too risky. Why? First, a home might be listed low to create a bidding war or listed high to test the market. If you don't look at the sold comparables, you're likely to overpay or miss out on the house. Second, money isn't always the seller's primary motivator. Often, it's also very important to them to have a quick closing or logistics like needing to stay in the home for a month after closing. So how do you structure a winning deal? Number 1, base your offer on a review of recent comparable sales, the time on market, and current inventory levels. Your goal is to secure the property at the lower end of the fair market value range, not just to win the bid at any cost. Next, before drafting the offer, have your agent call the listing agent and ask, outside of price, what's most important to the seller? You might find that a rent-back agreement that allows them to stay in the home for 30 days after closing is worth more to them than an extra $5,000 in price. And finally, instead of waiving the inspection, you can propose a shorter inspection period, such as 5 to 7 days versus 10 days, which will protect you while showing the seller that you want to move quickly and you're a serious buyer. Number 7, should you rent or should you buy? Saying renting is throwing money away is not always correct. When you own a home, you don't get back your interest, your taxes, your insurance, and your maintenance costs either. And don't just compare the monthly payments. Saying my rent is $2,000 and the mortgage would be more expensive at $2,400 ignores the fact that a portion of that mortgage payment pays down the principal. So why are these sometimes wrong? First, your total closing costs when you buy and sell can add up to 8 to 10% of the home's value. If you move in less than 5 years, those fees will likely exceed the equity gained on the house. And second, part of your mortgage payment pays down the loan principal, so you're essentially paying yourself. Renters don't get this benefit. Their payment builds the landlord's equity, not their own. So, how do you decide when it's the right time to buy? Only buy if you're certain you'll stay in the home for 5 or more years. If there's a decent chance that you might move for a job or any other reason in 3 years, keep renting. The transaction cost of buying will likely wipe out your equity. Next, use the 5% rule. Multiply the home price by 5%, then divide by 12. If your monthly rent is lower than that number, renting may be the smarter financial move right now. And finally, remember, as a renter, a broken dishwasher costs you nothing, while as an owner, it may cost you $800. Before you buy, ensure you can put aside the 1% per year we discussed earlier for maintenance and repairs in addition to the PITI. So, we covered a lot of ground today, so let's bring this all home with your most important takeaways. Number 1, take advantage of 3% conventional or 3.5% FHA mortgage programs to buy in at today's prices. 2, budget for principal, interest, taxes, insurance, and maintenance, not just principal and interest. Number 3, calculate your DTI using gross income and monthly payments. Number 4, choose conventional if your credit score is above 720 and FHA if below 660. If between, be sure to compare using a total cost analysis. Number 5, make sure you're working with trustworthy advisors, not just order takers or salespeople. Number 6, structure your offers based on data and seller needs, not just the list price. And number 7, make sure your plan is to be in the home 5 years or more before buying so you build real equity. If you follow these 7 tips and strategies, you're not just buying a house, you're buying a brighter financial future. If you found this video helpful, hit the subscribe button. I release new videos for first-time homebuyers every single Friday at 5 p.m. And let me know in the comments which topics you need help with and what questions you have so I can incorporate them into future videos. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next Friday.